services, and our keynote speaker, Professor Seetha, and WHO representative of Sri Lanka, and also Professor Tude, and Professor Sanath, and Professor Aruni, and also Dr. Ruchita, members of the editorial committee, and all the special invitees. Welcome and good morning to all of you. Well, my presentation is basically divided into two parts. One is about the journal, and also one is about the important SRH matter in Sri Lanka. Therefore, you can see that from the screen, what was the main reason for this, the production of this particular journal? Of course, we had this particular conference last November, and there was a request from all the authors. So I would say most of the authors, they requested whether there is any possibility of publishing their research work. Therefore, we had discussions during the conference as well as after the conference. Therefore, the Family Planning Association, after discussing with our research groups and the consultative groups, we have decided to start or publish this particular journal. Now, the birth of the journal, as I mentioned you that there was a request and we have responded to their request. That's how the birth was taken place of this particular journal. The journal, International Journal on Sexual and Reproductive Health. Now, I want to say the difficulties also. The birth is fine, but keeping the momentum is very difficult. I think it's very common in any international journal or local journal to receive high quality journal articles are somewhat difficult. Therefore, we have to try and also open requests for all the researchers and also academics and also the practitioners who are here. We request you to submit your academic work or your practical or policy related subject matters to this particular journal to enhance the subject area. Now, I want to move to some particular area on SRH, which is quite important. Now, one of the serious issues in Sri Lanka as SRH is concerned, ultra-low fertility. Now, some of you may be concerned about why this ultra-low fertility is related to SRH. Any country, suppose the fertility move to very low level, definitely there are a number of factors are contributing. Number one, the men and women away from entering into the marriage union, and also then postponement of the marriage, and also use of contraception and use of abortion, and we can notice that subfertility and many other factors are there. Now, I will focus particularly on the sharp decline of fertility in Sri Lanka and reliable estimates and wider implications. That's what I'm going to discuss very briefly. In Sri Lanka, we are noticing that very sharp decline of fertility in Sri Lanka. Therefore, this particular material is available on the journal later on. You can see that. Now, this particular presentation of this particular information we collected from various organizations, and this particular journal article which appearing on this new journal, the titling Ultra-Low Fertility Implications, Policy Options, a Case of Sri Lanka, co-authored by another co-author, Ranjit Disilla was here, and now I will quickly move into some of the important areas. Now I have a couple of research questions as a teacher. Every time I ask the questions from the audience, but I am asking questions by myself and answering. Now, emerging research questions. What is the current fertility level, or what is the level of reproduction in Sri Lanka right now? And also, there is a particular term we call TFR, total fertility rate. I believe most of you know what is exactly meant by total fertility rate, but it is meant by average number of live births a woman would have during her lifetime. On the other hand, once she approached age 50, how many children she have produced during her lifetime? Therefore, second question is basically, in Sri Lanka, TFR will decline to an ultra low level. Sri Lankan fertility is declining ultra low level, which is 1.3. That means a woman on average produces only 1.3 children now, as we estimated. With what would be the potential implications? Now, fertility declining is one thing, and there are many implications. Then the last question I'm asking, when that fertility falls below replacement level, should policy interventions be undertaken? Now, this is a controversial question, whether we have to undertake any policy discussion about this one. I think Ministry also has taken a number of discussions. I also participated. Now you can see one particular information looking at South Korea. South Korea has been listed as the lowest fertility in the world, lowest low fertility in the world. But look at, they sometime back they were if you can see from here, the orange line is South Africa, the blue line is Sri Lanka. In 1960s and 70s, Sri Lanka had somewhat lower fertility than the South Korea. But later on, South Korean fertility declined very significantly, and by 2016, it was well below the replacement level. Replacement level is marked with the green line. That means any country reach the replacement level, they can maintain the population at zero growth level. The size of the population won't change, and then